Universe. See that? I feel like that should be on the YouTube dashboard thing. All right. I think I'm ready to go. So, let's go ahead. Hi, I'm Clay Carlino, and I do stuff. In fact, lately I've been doing a lot of stuff. Like earlier today, I was working on Charlie. That's the 2003 Dodge Dakota. R.I.P. Brutus. I loved you so much, but I couldn't keep up with everything that was breaking on you. And then I was editing some of the video that I took while working on Charlie. So yes, I do edit the video that I take. It just takes a long time. And then I thought, hey, I should do a live stream. In fact, specifically, I should redo the live stream that I did last week. I did, excuse me, I've been drinking Canada Dry Diet ginger ale, and it's delicious, and it makes you burp. I am not being endorsed, or I'm not endorsing, I'm not sponsored by Canada Dry, and they don't pay me to use their products on the show. But it doesn't mean that they couldn't, so, you know, call me Canada Dry, okay? So, yeah, I was, I did a live stream last week, and the sound sync is great, but there was no sound on the intro song. No sound on the intro song. Okay, well, next time there will be sound on the intro song. I am very sorry. You know, I keep trying. And see, that when I say that I do a lot of stuff, like I'm doing several things, this is part of the lot of stuff. Okay? It's not enough that I spent the last 10 years or so just learning how to work on my vehicles because I'm too stubborn and cheap to have a mechanic do the work. It's not just that I have to fix things around the house, although actually there are a lot of things that I should be fixing around the house, and I haven't because I've been fixing the vehicles. It's also learning how to stream video and how to edit video, and the thing's on, the speaker's on, so yes. Yes, I'm from my technical director, my lovely and talented technical director is saying that we need music. And my lovely and talented technical director is actually the one who provides the music. So, why, thank you, lovely and talented technical director, for noticing that we need music. So, anyway, there we go. Smooth jazz. It's coming out of there, but that's okay. We'll get there. We are getting there. And I feel like this stuff is going to improve as we develop my space. Like right now I'm in my dining room. You can see I'm in a dining room. We've got games on the shelf back here. We've got old antique stuff on the shelf back here because that's the kind of geeky stuff that we like. Do you need the... Okay, there we go. My technical director needs the Bluetooth speaker. Huh. Oh, the light was on. Well, the light was on! Okay. I need to apologize in public to my technical director, who is also my wife. In fact, wait, here. It'll be much more heartfelt if we have background music. Honey, I'm sorry I doubted you. I didn't know that the light being on only meant that it was charging. It didn't mean that it was on. I should have known, though, because when you tell me that something's not working and it's my fault, you're always right. Next time, I won't doubt you, baby. I won't doubt you, baby. Okay, enough of that. So, we'll just put that right here. How's it sound? So, is it good balance? A little bit lower? Is that better? You've got the headset on, so... the playback hasn't caught up with... So, are we there yet? The delay on the playback is a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and click down one more. I think that's going to be good. All right, so it's... So the playback screen is right there, and it's the big TV that's mounted to my wall. And if I look at it for a moment, it's tremendously distracting because it's my own face as big as my face. And I don't even like seeing my face in full size, let alone a second one. So, anyway, do a lot of stuff. And one of the other things that I do, which most people are aware of, is I collect toys. And I know that none of this makes sense. And all the YouTube experts will say that if you're going to do a channel, be consistent. Do one thing so that people know what they're going to get when they log into your channel. And that's not me. I'm not just a guy who fixes cars, and I'm not just a guy who does weird projects, and I'm not just a guy who builds Raspberry Pi projects and plays old video games. I'm not just a guy who collects a lot of toys, although I am a guy who has collected a lot of toys. It's a little bit out of control. But, so, I'm sorry. I can't grow my channel as fast as I would like to, because my next video will probably be about changing the emergency brakes on a truck. And this video is going to be about Gobots. That's right, Gobots! You guys signed up for a video about Gobots. And I know what you're thinking. Gobots? Ugh! Gobots were lame. Transformers were cool. And you know what? Let's just say, Transformers were cool. Transformers were freaking awesome. This is actually the reissue of original Gen 1 Optimus Prime, and I'm so glad that they did that. And this is before they were really kind of screwing you on the price. Like, now they're charging $50 for just this part, and you don't even get the trailer. Like, you just get this at Walmart for $50. No! No! No, no, no! No, no, no! Shame on you, Walmart. $50? I mean, no. I'm sorry. Maybe put them together and you'll get a $40 price point for the whole thing. You know what? These days you could probably get a $50 price point for the whole thing. But $50 just for the truck? You know what? I'm putting you on notice, Walmart. Okay? I'm watching you. You know, don't call me. That's right. I'll advertise for Target. Yeah, that'll show you. As though Target's going to outlast Walmart. Wait, you know, well, I don't know. Anyway, so, yeah, I'm a huge Transformers fan, but I'm also a huge Gobots fan. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to make a statement that a lot of Transformers fans are going to be really ticked off if they actually heard me say it, which fortunately nobody actually watches these live streams, so it's unlikely to happen. There were things that Gobots did as well, if not better, than Transformers. I know! Thank you! That was very good. Yeah, it's true. There were things that Gobots did that were just as good as what Transformers did, and sometimes better. Now, obviously, we can't compare the entire line of Transformers to the line of Gobots, because Transformers is still going on, and at this point, Gobots are Transformers. So maybe you could say that if you are a Transformers fan, you are, by default, a Gobots fan as well, because Hasbro owns both entities now. Ooh. Am I making some people uncomfortable? No? You just don't care that much? That's okay. So, and this is something that I'd actually like to do several live streams about, and because I think that there's a lot of areas that we could go into, and just trying to compare the lines at the same time. So the 1984-85 era of toys that were coming out at that time, let's just compare as best as we can the things that Transformers were doing at that time to the things that Gobots were doing at that time. And so I'm going to start with Devistator. We all love Devistator. Devistator was the crown jewel of most kids' collections. And for those kids that got the Devistator gift set, oh my dear Lord, those were the coolest kids in school. You know, I remember seeing a kid that had that gift set in a restaurant, and it was like, wow. And I even had them. That's the thing. I collected them one at a time, and then I built Devistator. Now, this is not my original Devistator. This is actually the Devistator that used to belong to my oldest friend, Don. Don, you're probably not watching this because you've got better taste in videos, but thank you. When Don was kind of getting rid of his toys and his things because he wanted to, I don't know, grow up, get married, something like that. I don't know, some kind of crap like that. He offered his collection to me, which was fantastic because he kept his toys in great shape. Don, a lot of your stickers are crooked. I'm gonna let you know that your stickers a little bit crooked, but you know, okay, you know what? It's still better than my old Devastator, who my house caught on fire when I was in 9th grade. Yes, I was still playing with toys. I never stopped, just so that you know. I didn't stop. I didn't talk about it a whole lot, except to Dawn when I was in high school. But I still was getting the toys, you know, all the way through high school. And then there was that period where they didn't exist. You know, after Gen 1 stopped and before Gen 2 started, and then there was just this period where there were none, and then Gen 2 ended, and then again, there's nothing until, I think, Robots in Disguise, the first Robots in Disguise line. And I remember I was in college at the time, and I saw, I think that they were the Spy Bots or something, those race cars. They were the Transformers that were just like little Matchbox style cars, but those were the first things I saw in a C.G. Murphy's in downtown Pittsburgh, and my heart skipped a beat because it was new packaging, a new product, and it said Transformers on it. And oh wow, I've got people. Savage Shark. Yeah, you're right. Okay, thank you, Savage Shark, and thank you for signing on to this live stream. Because I don't know, you know what? You, other than my wife. Oh, 3? I've got 3 people, and one of them's my wife. Okay, Savage Shark, you and whoever else is watching this live stream, I love you. You are amazing. And so Transformers toys are awesome. Started collecting the entire Beast Wars toy line when I was in high school. You know what? I have to say, let me just comment for a moment to Savage Shark on Beast Wars. When Beast Wars came out, I was one of those truck not monkey guys. I know, and what I want to say to the internet is I'm sorry, because I was wrong. Truck and monkey. Beast Wars was amazing. In fact, Beast Wars was the best Transformers line in terms of toys and a show that worked great together. It was fantastic. Oh yes, and I am streaming some Gobots, even though I haven't talked about them yet. So, so anyway, Devistator, wonderful. We were all so happy to have Devistator, but let's just take a look for a moment. Okay, first of all, most people had Devistator like this because this is the first part that you lost. Let's be honest. And then the gun was gone, and then it wasn't. And you know what, these, okay, I've got mine because I've got OCD, but let me tell you, if I could get the little thing out, there we go. Okay, so this was a lot of the Devastators that I saw. No fists, no gun. Oh wait, here, get rid of that earpiece. Okay, no, so all right, still cool. You are right. The writing on Savage Shark says that the writing was amazing, and he is so right. It was such a good story. Anybody who hasn't watched Beast Wars, stop watching this video. Go find Beast Wars and watch it. We'll wait for you. Okay, no, we won't. So, your Devastator probably looked like this. I'm not sure. I'll let Monica field that one. So you have Devastator, and he comes apart, and then you take off the arm, and then you've got Bone Crusher, which I just have to ask the question: how did a Decepticon from Cybertron, which is a planet that supposedly, well, okay, according to Beast Wars, they actually at one point had organic, like an organic history, but they all forgot. So nonetheless, at the time that he was constructed, or I don't know if he was cold constructed or if he was is fused. Oh, $300! Wow. Let's see. I would probably end up pirating it, but I mean, not that I'm advocating illegal activity. Do I have the Beast Wars series on DVD? Yeah, I have the Beast Wars series, but I didn't pay $300 for it. So, anyway, so how did, presumably when Bone Crusher was on Cybertron, and he was either created or forged or whatever, they didn't know what bones were, so how did he get the name Bone Crusher? That's an organic part. Anyway, then we have Hook, and you know, I always thought that the way that Hook transformed for Devastator was really, really cool. I mean, the whole, you know, splitting apart and then folding like that's pretty awesome. So, you know, kudos to Takara. For those who don't know, Takara was the company where most of the Gen 1 Transformers came from. In fact, it's funny that Transformers and Gobots have a shared history in that both of them started as Japanese toy lines. The Transformers coming from Takara with Diaclone and Micromen, I believe. You know, at least the majority coming from Diaclone and Micromen, which is why a lot of the Gen 1 characters had passenger compartments. And those little figures that came with Zoids, have you ever noticed how they fit perfectly in the seats in Transformers? That's because they were all made by the same company, and those little characters that were in Zoids were also in the forebearers of the Transformers. Is that the right word? Forebearers? Probably. I don't know. Maybe? You know, maybe they still call them bones even though they're not made of, like, calcium and bone marrow. I don't know what bones are made of. I sucked at biology, okay? Let's, you know, I'm a science geek, but I was a terrible biology student. So, of course, you have the Devastator headpiece, which, without this piece, you can't connect the top half of Devastator to the lower half of Devastator. Yeah, you know what? I'm willing to accept that Bone Crusher is a translation from a Cybertronian phrase. No, Ashy Flashy, you get out of here! Get out of here! Get out of here! Damn puppet! No! No! Ashy Slashy. Murderous little puppet. Who are we kidding? We all love Ashy Slashy. We love you, Ashy Slashy. Just stay away. So, yeah, I'm going to say that that maybe the name Bone Crusher is a translation from the bone equivalent in Cybernese. I'm standing by the word Cybernese, by the way. So, anyway, got Long Haul. Long Haul may have been my favorite character, my favorite toy, at least, in the group, because he had a really neat-looking transform. I loved, that's a badass robot mode. Wait, let me, I've got my super close-up cam, so let's go ahead and use the close-up cam and look at Long Haul, and look at that. I mean, he's a good-looking guy. So, Long Haul. I always really liked his robot mode. I liked his truck mode. You could sort of do a... Let me turn him back into a truck. Hey, don't encourage Ashy Slashy. He needs no encouragement. So, this is Don's Long Haul, and he's very stiff right in the middle there. But you could also sort of pretend that the dumper worked, even though, the wheels came up with it. But, when you're putting dirt in your toys, which I would never do, but I know that my friend up the street, Joe, if you ever watch this live stream, I miss your dog-chewed Transformers toys. Joe had a great collection, but he also had a lot of dogs in his house, and the dogs would eat the toys. It was heartbreaking. But nonetheless, so with that being said, Joe's toys would get dirty. Okay, my toys, they did not go outside. They did not get dirt put in there. So, do I have like 5 people watching? Holy crap! Dude, I'm a star! Alright, well, thank you to the additional people that have logged on. Thank you so much, because we are just having a lot of fun, almost talking about Gobots. We haven't even gotten there yet. Of course, we have the pelvis piece, which holds on Scrapper and Mixmaster. And then, here's another thing that I love about Devistator, and I don't understand why they just don't do it. Like, they've never done it since then, is have Transformers that turn into feet. Look at that. He's a great foot. Look, I mean, he looks like a foot, and that's a great design. And then, you know, he does this thing, and that's awesome. You know, this whole Scramble City thing, where every character could be an arm or a leg. I mean, I'm all for playability, but you ended up with a lot of really shitty looking arms and legs. So, you know, let's be honest. I mean, hey, I collected them religiously. I had Superion. I could not find all the pieces to the Stunticons. I never managed to get all of Computron. Never got Monstrous. Monstructor. Yes, Monstrous is the Gobot combiner, which we will talk about Gobots during this live stream at some point. I promise. But I did have, I did manage to get my hands on some secondhand Transformers that I couldn't find in the stores. I got Bruticus. I got most of Menasor. I did get. I loved the Protectobots, Defensor, you know, because the head was built right into a hotspot, and that was really cool. You know, he really didn't take a lot of extra pieces, and that to me was a big plus. And Dawn got Predaking, which means that I now have a Gen 1 Predaking. Thank you again, Dawn. You are Prince Among Men. And by the way, for those people who don't know who Dawn is, if you check out my laminate floor ceiling video, that's Dawn in that video, kind of being snarky, and actually he's the one that makes that video worth watching. I mean, let's just be honest. It's all about Dawn, and that video was his idea. So yeah, monstrous. So and then you have Scavenger, which strangely enough, Scavenger was the leader, but he was also a foot. And while I like this, let me go back to the super close cam. Okay, so while I like the shovel foot thing, I don't like this big hollow space. You know, I imagine we're up to 6. Woo! We're up to 6 viewers. Hot damn! I wish that I had an alcoholic beverage, but I do not, so I will have another crisp, delicious sip of Canada Dry Diet. Crisp, refreshing, and no calories or caffeine. See, I mean, tell me, should I or should I not be sponsored by Canada Dry? I think I should. So, I thought we weren't going to do that during this video. Oh, okay. You know. This may or may not be an alcoholic beverage. It could be apple juice. It sort of looks like apple juice. It's smooth apple juice. So, just set that over there, and you know, you can pretend it's whatever you want it to be. But anyway, so yeah, I really liked the steam shovel as a foot thing, but I didn't like the hollowness. Nonetheless, he was the leader of the group, at least in the show, and I think in the comic books, he was pretty much the head of the group, even though he was a foot. And in every other one, it would always be the guy that made up the head. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, Savage Shark. We were just talking about that. I feel like you and me, Savage Shark, we're like this, okay? We are just so on the same page. So, you have all of these Constructicons, but then in order to build Devastator... I didn't mention Scavenger. Scavenger, I shouldn't forget about him because he was the first Constructicon that I ever got. I got him for Christmas. I think I got him from my Aunt Greta and Uncle Denny. I'm not sure. I feel like it was either my Aunt Greta and Uncle Denny or my Aunt Sherry and Uncle Pete. But yeah, and I remember for the longest time, I didn't have a lot of Transformers toys, and this will come as no surprise to anybody, but I built a bunch of Transformers out of wood when I was a kid because Transformers were expensive, and and so I couldn't get a lot of the big ones. Really, you know what? The Gobots theme was actually pretty good. I mean, their commercial theme, my Gobots, mighty robots. Another person, take a drink. I think that I'm going to take a drink every time another person joins the live stream. So, we'll see how that goes. But I assure you, it's just apple juice. So, when I only had Scavenger, I would in my little battles and things, I would have him transform into the arm of Devastator, and he would just be kind of floating there and beating up guys, because when you're a kid and you only have the arm of Devastator, then the arm of Devastator is really, really cool. So anyway, making the point, this is the pile of parts that you need to form Devastator. Thank you, TechRat76. This, and even when I was a kid, I have to say I was disappointed that you needed so much extra stuff to form Devastator. Now, what I will give them credit for is that at least the extra pieces weren't just, useless. You could take the wing thing and put him onto Scrapper, which I guess makes him into a flying steam shovel. Which, I think about the physics of that, and I'm just going to not think about the physics of that. Then we also have, I really like how the cod piece here fits on top of this piece, and see, you could put it on two ways. You could have it on like that, so that it covers some of the fugliness here, or you could have it on like that, and then it kind of tapers that front. And I think that I always preferred it this way. So, and then you put that on long haul, and it's just these extra guns. And that's really cool. Let me go ahead and put that on the super close so that people can see it in detail. So yeah, that is long haul, and he looks badass. I mean, he looks great with that thing on there. So if I saw that dump truck coming, then I would be like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. I mean, not only is this dump truck one of the kind that are the size of two houses side by side, but it's got massive guns hanging off of it. So, that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a fair compromise. Thank you, TechRat. And, you know, then they also had, of course, they had the little drill pieces that went in, you know, that went into the arm pieces, and so Scavenger had that, and you know, I mean, you couldn't use it for drilling. Oh, did I get more people? Oh, they have parts that make his hands and fingers grip so that he can... Oh, yes, you know, I've seen those, the upgrade kits. I have seen those. I haven't gotten them just because at this point, you know, my lovely technical assistant has brought out Combiner Wars Devastator, and Combiner Wars Devastator is everything that we wished Devastator would have been when we were kids, except that they're still add-on parts, but I'm okay with that because he is kick-ass cool. But yeah, so I have never felt the need to get the upgrade kits for Gen 1 Devastator, but yeah, we will talk about this at some point. Oh, I just lost his upper half. So then we also had you know, Bone Crusher did the same thing, and again, you know, the vehicles wouldn't have been able to use these for drilling, so I kind of think that maybe it would have been better for them just to be guns, but that's still pretty cool looking. And the head attachment was a little bit of a stretch. You know, you fold down the head, and then it looks like a head folded down, but it gives him a gun, and you know, if nothing else, it's a gun. And then Mixmaster. Whoa! Mixmaster gets the rifle, and so, you know, I appreciated that the extra pieces could do something else. They weren't just extra pieces, but you couldn't do anything with them in robot mode. You know, when you had the Constructicons in their robot modes, the extra pieces were just extra pieces, and you could never do anything with the fists other than have them be fists. So that being the case, I know that I promised that we would talk about Gobots. So I'm going to bring out what I'm going to call the Challenge of the Gobots. See what I did there? You know, the name of the show was Challenge of the... I'm sorry, that wasn't funny. Anyway, this is Puzzler. Puzzler came out in 1985, so he would have come out around the same time as Devastator. And yeah, I know! I finally got to Gobots! Isn't that amazing? And, you know, you look at Puzzler, and he is, you know, he's got some really cool body dynamics here. You know, I love the kind of hulking pose. I love the design of the car hoods that go on the sides of the chest here to kind of bulk him up. And you know, he can move his arms. You know, you have to be careful with it because if you move them the wrong way, then they do fall out. I have done, and I do this for just about all my toys anymore because so many of them have loosey-goosey joints. I'll stiffen the joints by squirting a small amount of super glue into the joint and then working the joint as the glue dries. And if you ever want to try this, just be very careful because if it's not completely dry and you set it down, the next day you will find that your Gobot's arm or your Transformer's leg is now frozen in place, and then you have to be very careful how to free that up. There is aerosol spray that you can get that dissolves super glue, and I don't actually have any, but I should, because I have broken pieces in the past because I froze a joint and then in the process of trying to work it loose, I broke the joint. But you know what? I'm always kit bashing my toys anyway, so it's not as big of a deal for me when, as opposed to you. So anyway, you have two puzzlers? Oh, he is pretty cool. Okay, you know what? Tech Rat, Savage Shark, Quentin. Oh, hi, Quentin. Hey, I haven't seen you since that convention. It was great seeing you there. All from Twitter. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for, did you say that they're like doing stuff on Twitter too? Oh, but just they're coming in from Twitter. Hey, thank you guys. I am so glad to see you here, and thank you for spending your Saturday evening with me as I ramble on, apparently in no discernible direction. But nonetheless, I actually have. We don't discuss the white car. I like the white car. He's doing the leg thing here, and you absolutely should look into fixing damaged Gobots because Gobots, because of their simple transforms, they're usually pretty easy to fix. I have an extra zigzag here that came with my puzzler, and then later at a convention I got a second zigzag, and then just last night I fixed the foot on the original zigzag. Once again, going off topic, I'll just show you what I did here. If I can show it. I can probably show it. Okay, I can show it with my super close cam. So if you look at the joint here, you see how the one on the left is pristine. The one on the right is actually rebuilt. The bottom half of it came from from one of those Trandformers Build-A-Bot kits, and I need to get more of these things because they are a great source of plastic parts. And I just cut off a little cylinder. It was one of the pegs that fits into one of the holes, and then I cut that in half to make, or actually I didn't cut it in half, I kind of shaved out this so that I could take that cylinder and glue it in on the underside of this, and now he has a perfectly usable foot joint. So I'm very happy to have my zigzag, my extra zigzag, back up to 100%. I really like this guy too. In fact, why don't we just use that? Hello, Azure. Azure. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is Zigzag, and he makes up one of the feet. You'll notice that once again, following the Gobots traditions of highly questionable naming conventions, they chose to name all of the Puzzler characters puzzle names. Now, granted, Zigzag isn't much of a puzzle name. I think that it's probably one of the best names in the group, but yeah. So this is Zigzag, and he turns into the foot, and you can see that he's, let's do a super close cam on him because he's actually got some nice detail to him. So this is Zigzag, and take a look. He's got a decent head sculpt. I mean, it's not a great head sculpt, but for the time that was good. I love the body. The body looks great. We have the big feet, which I like the big feet. It just makes him look like he's wearing big boots. The head's not up quite. Yeah, at some point I might squirt a little glue in there just so that it holds up a little bit better. Of course, you can see that the tires are split, and I don't know what to do about that. That is something that for years I've been looking for a good source of replacement rubber tires for Gobots, and I know that you could take Tyco tires, from the slot cars and put those on, but they're really expensive. It's like $10 to get a maintenance kit for one of those cars, and you get 4 tires, or 2 tires, or something stupid like that. And I feel like I feel like there should be a way to just go to Alibaba and get like 20 pounds of tires for $10 or something like that, because you know that it's not costing $10. It's not costing $5. It's not costing $1. It's costing like 10 cents to manufacture all the parts in that upgrade kit, and they're charging $10 for it. Okay, I just thank you. So anyway, how would you replace missing tires for Gobots? So here, let me show you what I did with Turbo. This isn't the best solution, but this is one thing that I did in desperation. We'll go to the super close cam. So if you look, I've got pieces of vinyl tubing on his wheels. And actually it works really well because he's already got that blue plastic. And just as a side note, I love Turbo. Look at him. I mean, he's really cool looking. He's got that great chest. You know, his robot mode is just a good solid. I mean, it's not complicated. And here's another thing that I love about Gobots is, yeah, I know the Transformers had bigger figures and they were more complicated, but and you know, obviously I love that, but sometimes I just like a figure that I can in a few seconds transform him and he completely changes his identity. So anyway, yeah, this is Turbo with his blue tires. And we'll show him up close. So that's you know, he sort of needs a wide body kit now because the tires are bigger. I went a little bit liberal on the width of the tires, but that is vinyl tubing that I used, and I've thought about maybe looking into maybe getting some kind of foam tubing or something like that, and then setting up a jig and being able to slice it. So, thank you. You're right, he is no Crasher. Crasher kicks ass. I love Crasher. And that's another thing. Okay, let's just, even though we haven't really touched on Puzzler yet, let's just put another comment in, or another point in the column for something that Gobots did better than Transformers: female characters. Right out of the gate, Gobots had female characters that were strong protagonists and antagonists, and they were just as interesting and as developed as the other characters. Now, admittedly, it was a shitty show, so it's not a high bar, but nonetheless, Crasher was easily one of the best parts of that show. And that whole shocking foot power thing that she did, that's great. I loved it every single time, and it didn't matter that she did it every single episode. I didn't care, because every time she did it, I wanted her to do it again. So, let's see, ask you about tires on little cars on RC. Yes, I was talking about little tires on RC race cars, and the only problem that I've found is that they're pricey. You know, it's like when I can get a Gobot on eBay for $10, I don't want to pay another $10 to $20 for an RC car kit that has tires in it. You know, that just seems like there should be another way. Now, I have never 3D printed replacement parts for my Gobots. Now, I have had a lot of experience with 3D printing, and what I will say is that there are some 3D printers out there that have rubberized filament. I know that there's rubber filament that you can use on the Formlabs 3D printers. Those, however, are not FDM machines. Okay, they don't use an XY axis to squirt and melt filament the way that you normally think of with a 3D printer. Those actually use UV light and fluid. And what I found with those ones is that the parts are a little bit brittle. They crack very easily, and the rubber parts, they're not very resilient. They're beautiful. Okay, the Formlabs 3D printers parts are beautiful, but they are delicate. And so I don't think that I'd recommend a Formlabs parts for replacement parts unless you're using them aesthetically, but you're not planning on like playing with them much. There was a rubber extrusion head for the Taz 6 and rubber filament that was very, very strong. That was impressive. The resolution was okay, but the filament was great. So I've never tried 3D printing rubber tires. I think that that's a good option because, probably the best option unless you can find a foam. And, I'll probably look into that because I've been getting a lot more Gobots lately and very few of them have good tires. So I'll look into foam, and if I find something, then I'll do a video about it or a live stream, and we'll figure out some good solutions for tires on these guys. So, anyway, I was just looking because things are happening on the screen, and I wasn't sure what are we. Oh, Quentin was asking if we were getting Seeker Decepticons at Target. Well, it depends on the price. I love that mold. It's very, very similar to the Classics mold from a few years ago, which I bought the crap out of that mold. I even sent away to get some of the knockoff ones from China in different colors. I kit bashed some to make characters that didn't exist anywhere other than my mind. So I probably have about maybe a dozen different Seekers. Now, the one that's coming out now is a little bit of a bigger scale than the one from a few years ago, and it's a high price point. I think that they're about $30 a piece, and that's a lot. It's on par with what you pay for toys these days. But I'm not sure if I want to fill out my Seeker collection all over again with a whole bunch of slightly larger scale, similar molds to the ones that I've already got. I'll have to see if maybe I can get some kind of a deal on them. So, and we'll see how well my willpower holds out when I see them in the store. It's like, ooh, I want it. So, anyway, Yes, Tech Rec. That's what I was talking about. Those are the wheels that you can actually get as repair kits. But again, they're like $10 and you get either 2 or 4 tires. And I feel like there should be a cheaper way to get replacement tires for Gobots. So, getting back to Puzzler, because Puzzler is supposed to be the star of this show. He's great. He is, I love the robot mode here. And, let's go ahead and disassemble him for a second. So we've got Pocket here. Pocket, really? Because Pocket Puzzle? The names of the characters are not super impressive. You take the guys off and you put them into robot mode, and so this is Pocket, and I swear he's trying so hard to be Sunstreaker. Let me put him on the super close cam so you can look at the face. Is that or is that not the Gobots equivalence of a Sunstreaker face? Now, it looks like the black that was supposed to go in the mouth ended up below the mouth, making him kind of look like he has a smiley face. I think that they would have been better off just not adding the detail, but, maybe we'll just pretend it's a divot. It's a little bit cooler if you pretend it's a divot. And then he's got very skinny arms. And, traditional robot legs that are made up of the back half of a car. So, the robot mode is serviceable. It's not great, but yeah. Thank you. You turn him into a car, and, you rotate him around. And he's got some good moves when you put him into car mode. Spinning the body around and splitting everything. And then his car mode looks great. Here, let me go ahead and do the super close. So, that was one of the strengths of Gobots. The detail was beautiful on these guys. The rubber tires, the chrome. This is a nice little toy. He was also on scale with Turbo. Turbo is a little bit smaller, but there were other Gobots that were about the same size, so they were roughly the same scale. And if anything, I appreciate that the Puzzler figures are a little bit bigger, because then when you have this big robot and you have Leader 1 next to him, okay, it's like, oh man, you're giant and you're gonna kick my butt. And he's like, yeah, that's right. And Leader 1 goes flying off, and so Puzzler in scale against the normal Gobots was, we got another one. Whoop! Wait, what? 14? 15? 19? I don't know. We got people watching this thing. Toast with apple juice. It's the best apple juice I've ever had. So, and yes, I know that there were Super Gobots. In fact, you also had this version of Leader 1, which I love this toy. This is one of my favorites. He just looks great. And granted, you did have the scale issue here, but here's the thing. It's obvious because of the existence of both of these do not represent two different characters. These are both Leader 1. So you have to accept that the toys that were this big represent characters that were the same scale as this big. And that's something that Transformers could not do. Optimus Prime was this big. And so then when you formed Devastator and he was this big, well, I mean, he is bigger than Prime, but not by much. And I'm pretty sure that Prime could take him. It's like, I mean, sure, Devastator's going to be the one that's going to be giving Prime shit in the bar, but and Prime's just going to be sitting there like, let me drink my Energon. Just let me drink my Energon. And Devastator's like, I don't like the look of your stacks. And Prime's like, why don't you just go have a drink? And Devastator's like, I don't want to have a drink. I want to have your drink. And then Prime would have to do some cool Prime whoop ass and break him into 6 pieces and then beat up the component parts. So, yes, my apple juice is evaporated. My apple juice is more than meets the eye. Thank you, Tech Rat. That's for you, Tech Rat. So, wait. How many do you? 4 pieces for $12. 2 pieces for. So my lovely assistant has brought up some replacement tires. You can get 2 for $7.13 on Amazon, and you can get 4 for $11.44. when you go onto eBay and you buy these guys, you're usually getting them for less than $10 for the whole figure. I don't want to pay almost $12 just for the tires. So, yes, Transformers had the whole grow shrink thing going on, and I guess in the sense that really, fighter planes are much larger than cars. So, Turbo here, he, if you didn't have the grow shrink thing, then when he was hanging out with Leader 1, it should have been this Leader 1. Okay, that's closer to the correct scale, but we know that that's not how it worked. Turbo hung around with this Leader 1, and they're like, hey, Leader 1, I'm gonna go blast something even though I don't have a gun. And Leader 1 would be like, well, that's great, Turbo, I'm just going to stand around and kind of be white bread. So Leader 1 was kind of a boring character. I'm sorry. I love the toy. Okay, I love the toy, but the character was just kind of a bland sandwich on white bread with bland mustard. I don't know what that means. I probably shouldn't have had all that apple juice. So, yeah. So you have that scale thing, and a lot of the most of the Transformers toys were like yay high to Devastator, and even when I was a kid, that was disappointing to me. Whereas Puzzler, yes, Puzzler is the same size pretty much as Devastator, but he in comparison to your other Gobots, he was a giant, and that was great. So let me show you something else. Okay, I'm gonna continue taking these apart. This is Crossword, and he turns into a Porsche. He is probably the closest equivalent to Jazz, I guess, at least in vehicle mode. Now look at this. Okay, see that's a fist. This is a fist. I'm gonna put this on the super close. So look at that. Okay, that is a fist, and let me show you what this fist does. Look at that. It folds into the bumper of the car. Okay? Amazing! The fists are built into the figures. Yeah, that's right. Bam! That just happened. No, extra hollow add-on fist. Yes, built-in molded folded fist. That's right. Clay Carlino channel, TM. And so you have Crossword here, and once again, not the best vehicle, or not the best robot mode. Actually, mine tends not to stand up if I have him transformed like this. So I'll spin him around, and then he'll be very, very orange, and he'll be like this. So. No. I don't think so. No. The police car was Jigsaw, because Jigsaw puzzle, Crossword puzzle, because there's 6 guys that go together like a puzzle. See how clever that is? Me neither. Gobots had shitty names. Great toys. Shitty names, shitty marketing, shitty show. But awesome toys. So yeah, he's once again not the best robot mode, but serviceable. Definitely serviceable. Yeah, Gobots, you didn't lose parts. You got the Gobot, and you had the Gobot, and that was the important thing. It was all about the Gobot. And so you put this guy into car mode, and he looks good in car mode. Let's once again go to super close. I guess that's called macro, but see, on my OBS settings I have the scene called super close. So now he's you know, he's obviously got some wear. I should probably do some work on him, you know, take him apart, repaint the silver bits. But you know, this is a nice car mode, and so yeah, that's crossword. Then we have tic-tac, because tic-tac-toe is sort of like either that or they're talking about the breath mints. He's either a game that first graders play or he's breath mints. We're just pausing to contemplate that. And he just pulls off like this. I love the way that they created the chest. And notice the head is built in. Okay, you don't add any pieces. Once again. Yeah, Psykill had the parts. You couldn't do anything with Psykill's engine in robot mode, and that always bugged me. I remember trying to make it so that I could stick the engine on his back, you know, with the one I had, and I kind of regret that decision because it really didn't work. I need a new Psykill because what I did to try and refurbish mine really was unfortunate. But yes, thank you. Tic-tac-toe is the favorite game of people stranded on a desert island. So anyway, he's got his hands kind of hold in the side here. Let's go to the super close. You know, the hands are right here, and they go into these slots on the side, which make him nice and tight. And then he's got this wire thing, which you don't see in any of the other toys. You know, you never see just a bent wire part, but there it is. And then you pull that off. And speaking of paint, any preference on paint brands for touch-ups on Gobots? I've had a lot of mixed results repainting Gobots. I did recently repaint Turbo here. I took them all apart, and I used Rust-Oleum on the metal parts. I hit them with primer first, and then at the same time that I was doing the Rust-Oleum, I dusted the plastic parts with the same Rust-Oleum so that the colors would match up. But I didn't want to put like a thick layer, just enough of a haze that it blended. But painting Gobots is hard, and I've found that if you use lacquer-based paints, a lot of times the plastic will crack. So don't use lacquer-based paints. Krylon is a lacquer-based paint. Don't use it on the parts. I think that it's the acrylic parts that will tend to crack. If there's ABS, then I think that it's okay. But painting them is rough. And I have also used testers paints, usually not with very good results, because they tend to be thick and not you know, get the detail, and then it comes out looking globby, and it never seems to dry hard. And again, I got testers lacquer-based paints, and that's when I discovered that lacquer-based paints are causing some of the pieces of my Transformers and Gobots to crack. So anyway, we've got tic-tac here, because tic-tac-toe, and you pull a, you know, once you have them like this, then you can pull the shoulders and get the arms out. You know, he's a little bit sticky. There we go. And then you close up the car body, and then you pull out the bottom half and flip the feet around. And then there you go. You've got a robot, and he's kind of got flipper hands. They're kind of doing a thing sort of like that. It sort of looks like an elbow. Let me go on this super close. So yeah, you can see that's the arm, and we'll move it up, and it's. I mean, most Transformers and Gobots don't even have elbows, so I'll accept it if I just imagine that that's an elbow, and I think that's what the intention is. But other than that, he's a really nice looking figure. When you look at the detail, I mean, that's a badass chest, that's a badass face, and actually, if you just think about these things as elbows, he can be like, yeah, I'm looking very far away. Look at that. Yes, I'm looking very far away. But then you get to the rest of the body, and he's a little bit awkward in the midsection, because he has this. I think that these are just supposed to be the legs, but because you have this middle piece that is kind of long, it makes him look like he has a very long torso. At some point, maybe what I'll do is I'll add a black sticker to the middle here so that it gives the illusion that his crotch is up here rather than down here. And I think that would actually help his robot mode a lot, because other than that, he's a very serviceable figure. This is another one that I tightened up the joints a little bit. He used to be very, very loosey-goosey. And that's when Gobots tend to feel and look the cheapest, when they're very floppy. So that's why I like to tighten up the joints, because you can really appreciate them when they actually hold a pose and stand up. But yeah, so that's Tic Tac, and we'll show you the... we're about 1 hour and 10 minutes, just letting you know. Okay, so I assume Savage Shark wasn't asking that. Okay, so yeah, I've been on for a long time, and I still haven't gotten through all the pieces of Puzzler. So you put the arms in, and you kind of have to bend the body back, slide these in, and then the hands tuck into the stomach, and then this closes over the ends of the arms, and then you fold the feet around. There we go, just like that. And this is the car mode, and he looks awesome. This is a great car mode. I mean, when I was a kid, I would have loved that car mode. Paint this guy black and put a red bar on the front, and he's Knight Rider. He's really, really cool. And these pieces that are used to connect him to Jigsaw make great oversized exhaust. So yeah, once again, excellent vehicle mode, less than impressive robot mode. And then we have Jigsaw, which I believe earlier some people were talking, saying that we don't want to talk about the white guy. Now I will say that this guy kind of frustrated me before I tightened up the joints. The arms were always flopping, and even when he was in Puzzler mode, I didn't know what to do with the arms. Once I stiffened up the arms just a little bit, then I started putting them up and having the hands go into the midsection of Tic Tac, just right along the side, but it did something to get them out of the way. And it was a lot... Puzzler looked a lot better once I did that. So this guy will... we will move him now. Yeah. There we go. And okay, so I don't know why you guys hate this guy. I know he's got really long arms, and the hands don't make sense. Okay, I'll give you that. But you know, let's look at him super close. First of all, you know, he has a good face. That's a nice face. You know, it's a perfectly serviceable robot face. And then you look at the detail, and this one is in particularly nice shape too. You know, it's a nice body. The arms are awkward. They're just too long. But all in all, that's a perfectly decent figure, and I feel like he's not even as awkward as some of the others in robot mode. You know, I would say, I mean, this isn't a great robot mode, but I'd say that it's better than a lot. I think that it is a Firebird. Yeah. And yes, yeah, that was one of the things that I loved about Gobots. They were just like collecting Hot Wheels, except they were also robots. So, thank you, Savage Shark. Savage Shark is throwing some love at Jigsaw here. And then you turn him into the car, and this one feels nice. I mean, he clicks. His parts click when I rotate them and slide them into place. You know, the fact that he has knee joints and leg joints, I realize that that's because he has to have those joints for Puzzler, but he is conspicuous because, you know, obviously the kind of the Street Hawks on top are not normal. They don't look like normal, like, lights. Ah! Okay, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to let the people who are watching the comments talk about what the joke is. That way, if there are any younger viewers to this long-running thing, then we won't be talking about what they say that he transforms into. But yeah, let's take a look. His car mode, other than the odd and awkward looking emergency lights on top, which I'm willing to forgive, it looks great. You know, he does, you know, once again, very good vehicle modes on these guys. Oh, and I'm pouring ginger ale, which delicious Canada Dry ginger ale. I'm pouring it all over my table. Actually, specifically, it was Optimus Prime who poured the ginger ale because he knocked it into the thing. Thank you. I got a paper towel here. And now Hook is... Well, you know what? The ginger ale doesn't have any sugar, so at least it won't be sticky. So, yeah, I will agree that the emergency lights on top don't look like emergency lights. But we know that they're supposed to be emergency lights. And if that's the biggest combiner conceit that we have to make with this guy, which, by the way, it is, I'm gonna say I tip my hat to Machine Robo. It was Bandai that originally made Machine Robo and Gobots. So I'm going to tip my hat to Bandai because that's not bad. That is not bad at all. And then, of course, we've already talked about Zigzag here. And, you know, he's got an excellent car mode. He looks great in car mode. And then we have Rube because Rubik's Cube, which is a puzzle. You know, pull his shoulders out. There we go. And put his head up. His head doesn't want to stay. I haven't done anything to stiffen up his joints, so, and I kind of need to. But you know, his arms and legs are good, but his head wants to sink down in. I always had the same problem with Rumble and Frenzy. Their heads just don't wanna stay up. The spring gets weak. So yeah, this is Rube, and once again, I'm loving this guy. I'm loving the way that he looks. Let me bring his head up a little bit. Decent head sculpt, nice body, good proportions. Is there ever a taxi transformer or Gobot? I feel like I remember there being a taxi Gobot, but I've been on the wiki page recently, so I don't remember seeing it. Maybe there was like a converter's taxi or something like that, but yeah. And I always, this was an idea, and both my lovely wife and I have kind of brainstormed about this. I always wanted to see like an Autobot Metro team that had like a bus and a police car and a taxi and a street sweeper and I don't know, a police horse. I don't think that we said a police horse, but I had the idea that maybe it would have like maybe there would be a police troop carrier that could fit a motorcycle inside, and the motorcycle would become the head or something like that. But we wanted there to be a garbage truck. Garbage trucks have been underrepresented in both Gobots and Transformers. Now, Gobots did have Flytrap, so they were right out of the gate with a garbage truck. I don't think that we got a garbage truck in Transformers until Wreck-Gar from the animated series. So, was there a taxi in Mask? Okay, well, so anyway, we got Rube here, and that's not a good name. It makes him sound like he's got no experience. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the name Rube, but that's his name, and we're just gonna have to forgive him for it. And then he turns into a black sedan. Looks like he might be a Mercedes-Benz. I think I see a Benz logo in the hood. Here, I'll show that on the close cam. So yeah, is that a Mercedes-Benz logo? He's definitely kind of an old person sedan. But again, nice toy. Not my favorite style car, but really, really nice toy. So that's that. The one Gobot was a bulldozer. They did make a Gobot bulldozer. Yeah, Savage Shark. Okay, take a look. I believe that his name is Dozer, and he is absolutely a bulldozer. I had to replace this. The one that I had was missing it, so I made this out of a piece of a knockoff, smaller version of Scrapper, and it was yellow, and it was almost exactly the right side. I had to do a little bit of bending in the back there to make it fit into the holes, but Dozer is a fold-over Gobot, and you fold the feet, and then you pull the arms out, and this guy is great. Let me put him on the super close cam so you can see him. I love this guy. He looks great. His proportions are nice, and he's so simple. And again, it's so much fun to have one of these in your hands and then just transform it back and forth. Taking seconds at a time. It's like, oh my gosh, he's a bulldozer. Oh, that's so cool. Oh wait, oh look, now he's a robot, and except that you have to pull the arms out, and okay, now he's a robot. Yeah, that's cool. And oh look, I'm gonna make him into a bulldozer again, and oh, that's so cool. Except that I never get the feet. There we go. So yeah, that is Dozer. Yeah, they haven't done a steamroller. I don't think anybody's done a steamroller. I think that Micro Machines had a steamroller that would pick up Micro Machines, but it wasn't like now Micro Machines had tons of stuff. I never got into collecting Micro Machines because they didn't transform. So why would I? But I think that they did have the steamroller thing. So anyway, that's Puzzler, and I have to say that in terms of being on scale with the other main characters in the line, Puzzler beats Devastator. When you look at the quality of the toys, the Gobots are heavy because they have a lot of metal parts, and the Constructicons are very obviously very light and plastic, and it does show. I mean, they look good, but they don't look as good as a Gobot. If they were built the same way as Gobots, they would look better, and they'd feel better, and they'd feel like you're getting more. And the only way to not be able to assemble Puzzler is to either break the characters or lose the characters. If you have all 6 cars and they're not broken, you get to form Puzzler. If you lose the extra pieces to your Constructicons, guess what? Devastator goes away. So you guard those extra pieces with your life. The fact that even to this day, the combiners that they are making now in 2020, I don't know if they're making any with this current wave, but the ones that they made just a couple years ago, you still have to add on fists and feet. Not with Puzzler. The fists and the feet are built in. And then you have his robot mode, and he's got that stance where his arms are out at his sides, and he's got the broad shoulders. He looks good. So, I'm sorry, Transformers. And I say this with love because I do love you. Devastator, I do love you. Top of Devastator. Wait here. He kind of fell apart. Top of Devastator. I do love you. I don't say this with hate in my heart. But Puzzler was a better toy design than Devastator. That's just it. And that's something where Gobots did, and I wish I could get my hands on Monstrous. That is my holy grail. Take a moment to show off Grungy. Yes. Okay. So, and that's I was actually just going to go there. Okay. Gobots did combiners better. I don't have Monstrous, but from everything that I've heard, Monstrous was in every way as good as Puzzler, except better. Better built, went together better, made a better robot. I would love to get my hands on a Monstrous. But, so, they did those 2 combiners, and both of those combiners in all of these ways were superior to Devastator, to the aerial bots. I mean, you look at the aerial bots and you had that giant silver bolt and then these little tiny aerial bots that went with them, and the combined form was not attractive. Here's something else that I'm going to point out. This is the Gobots Power Suit Combiner. This is the Renegade version, and I'm sorry to say that his name is Grungy. What the hell were they thinking? Grungy? That's just... oh, it was just bad. But so but you know, this is, you look at him and he's big. Even in comparison to Super Leader 1, he's big. And this robot mode looks great. You know, I would put this up against any of the Japanese toys that were being made at this time. And yes, it is a Japanese toy, but nonetheless... Oh, I just lost Copter. Here, we'll put Copter back in. There we go. But, you know, he looks awesome, and having the Gobots inside of him really does add to the aesthetic of the toy. You know, it just makes him look complete and makes him look more bulky. And, you know, he's got this compartment inside where you can see my Night Striker Psykill. You know, because, of course, Night Striker Psykill is in the heart of grungy. You know, power suits. Here, we'll take that off. Whether Monstrous was a Transformer and who Predaking was. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna answer a debate that's going on. So Predaking was a Transformer. He came out, I believe, in wave 3 or 4. And he is the finest combiner that was ever done in Transformers Gen 1. He still rivals some of the combiners that they've put together today. His characters were full-sized figures, you know, where you had the little Constructicons. These guys were the size of most of your toys. He, you know, suddenly you have Optimus Prime next to Predaking, and it's like, you know, if Predaking gives Prime shit in the bar, Prime's just, he's going to politely excuse himself and go away. Okay? Predaking doesn't mess around. And once again, this is one that I got from Don. Thank you, Don. He is still a gem of my collection, and I do not kit bash Predaking. He's a prize. You know, Predaking also had very few extra bits. You know, he had the feet, which became guns for Rampage and Tantrum. He had fists, which really didn't do anything, and he had a head. But that was it. You know. Okay, it's hard to get the head off. There we go. So, you know, you had the extra head here. But other than that, he didn't come with a big chest plate, which most of the Scramble City combiners had big chest pieces that had to be added on. You know, he even, you know, you could sort of give him elbows. You didn't get a lot of motion, but you got a little bit of motion. So he didn't just have locked straight arms. You know, he had a stance. So, yeah, this is Predaking. And then Monstrous. I commonly get Monstrous confused with Monstructor. Monstructor was a Pretender combiner done, I think, in Series 5 of the Gen 1 line. And he was done in the Scrambled City style, where you had a larger center figure and then little, you know, much smaller little appendage figures, and their heads would peg in to the shoulders and the legs. But Monstructor, I believe that he had 6 characters. I never had Monstructor. I never even saw Monstructor in the stores. And I would have liked to have him. From what I understand, he was even smaller than a lot of the other Transformer combiners. You know, they were going really, really cheap by then. Just super, super cheap. So, and then there's Monstrous, which is the other Gobots combiner that I would love to have. And you know, and his name is Monstrous. So yeah, there's wow, how much are those? Oh wow. Ugh. So if I wanted a Monstructor, it would cost me only $260. What's... Oh, those are pictures? Yeah, he's... You know, just not an impressive toy. But he came with Pretender shells, and they were little monsters, and they were just solid blocks of molded plastic, and then the Transformer would fold up into sort of a box and just cram into a hole in the back. You know, they were just going as cheap as they could, and it's kind of sad what they did with the Gen 1 line as they progressed, just milking it as hard as they could and constantly going cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And I'm glad to see that nowadays they kind of go through cycles. You know, they'll come out with a line that's very detailed and seems to be some good quality toys, and then the next line will be a little cheaper, and then the next line will be a little bit cheaper, and then usually by the third or by the fourth line they'll re-up and do something nice again. And then, you know, and that seems to have been the cycle for the last decade, and I think that it's okay. So that's it. I feel like I've made a good case for saying that Gobots did better combiners than Transformers. You know, awesome. Obviously, Combiner Wars has happened now, and we got some fantastic combiners out of Combiner Wars, and then we got more combiners done in the same style for Power of the Primes, and I'm kind of hoping that we see still more combiners done in that style, because I will buy them. I will buy the shit out of them. But I think that it's fair to say that that the Gobots in 1985 were doing a better job with combiners than Transformers were. So, Transformers, you know I love you, and obviously you won the war, but you weren't the best at everything. So, thank you to everyone who signed on for this live stream. I am so glad that all of you came on, and I'm so glad to see lots of comments happening, and I hope that I didn't ignore anybody. I tried to keep my eyes on what was going on and not derail too much. But I'm so glad that you decided to join us, and it's kind of touching to me, because I always assume that most people aren't going to watch my live streams. So whenever we get a chance to see some of you when we're at conventions and stuff, I look forward to it. And I think that's it. This is Clay Carlino telling you not to be afraid to stand up for Gobots, because you know what? Gobots were freaking cool. It's Clay Carlino telling you to be brave.